Walking is a science fiction fantasy film starring Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, and Mads Mikkelsen that's apparently also based off a best-selling book. This movie takes place in what feels like a futuristic Earth, but it's actually not Earth. In this world, there are a bunch of men, there are no women anywhere, and with every man, you can hear their thoughts. Like an aura will start beaming around the man's head, and you can hear his thoughts, exactly what he's thinking. Then lo and behold, out of nowhere, a woman played by Daisy Ridley winds up on this planet. She's encountered by Tom Holland, who's one of the members of this world with all these men whose thoughts can speak. You can't hear any of Daisy Ridley's thoughts because this, mind, blaring thing, whatever you want to call it, it's only affected by men. Women can't feel the effects of it. It's now this town that Tom Holland lives in. They're all coming after Daisy Ridley to basically execute her, being led by Mads Mikkelsen, and Tom Holland has to get Daisy Ridley to this area for safety that will get her back to where she needs to go. I guess the best word I would use to describe this movie is promising. This movie has a lot of potential. First of all, you got a great cast. Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, Mads Mikkelsen. They're all really good at acting. You also have a really interesting premise. You're on this world where your thoughts can be heard. You can't really hide anything. You can't lie about something because people will just hear your thoughts. It's all really interesting. That should make for a really enjoyable, solid movie. The key word in that phrase was should. This movie is just a mess. First of all, I'm going to say this right now. The two leads, Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley, I didn't really feel great chemistry between the two of them. I mean, if you watch the movie itself, you don't really know what the movie's trying to go for because, Tom Holland's character clearly likes Daisy Ridley's character. She can obviously tell because she can hear his thoughts. And throughout the movie, it's really teens like, oh, will they, won't they? Are they going to be a thing or are they not going to be a thing? But at no point in time did anything really blossom between the two. And with Daisy Ridley, it's like, Tom Holland's willing to help me and that's really all I need him for. He's just a guide to me. No form of connection really grew between the two, and that means, you don't really care about their relationship, you don't really care about the characters themselves, because I think part of what the other problem was, you don't get that much of a backstory with these characters. And you get a little bit here and there. You hear a little bit about what Tom Holland had to go through, and what Daisy Ridley had to go through, but I think we really would have benefited from, some in-depth backstory with both of them. Really find out the purpose behind their characters, really find out their drive, their motivation, what would be a really good moral story for each of them. Couple their relationship with the fact that we don't really know a whole lot about them to really give a shit. You're not really going to give a shit for these characters. Also, really could not get behind the motivation for why this world wants women eradicated. My guess is maybe because, women can't hear men's thoughts, so that makes them dangerous or whatever it is. But there's never really a true motivation to why this society wants to go in that route. You think about it, it's like, yeah, but if all the women are gone, are you ever going to be able to repopulate? Eventually, all you men are just going to die. Certainly not trying to sound like a feminist or anything over here, but, it is facts. Also, really going to say this right now, this is probably the biggest complaint I have with this whole movie in general. They really wasted the potential for what you could really do with hearing your thoughts, at least from a Mads Mikkelsen perspective. He's someone who's really learned to control his thoughts and really control what he can do with them. He has the ability to be like, okay, I'm going to imagine that I'm over here, which is going to cause people to think I'm over there, or I'm going to imagine this is that, or I'm going to imagine something like this. Or even a couple moments with Tom Holland where he, there's this guy that's, in his town that's kind of, rivals with him, that kind of picks on him or whatever, and this guy's afraid of snakes, so Tom Holland thinks snake, and a big snake comes out, well, figuratively a snake. It looks like a snake. It's a thought snake. It's not really a snake. Bear with me. He basically imagines a snake, and a snake lunges out and freaks the guy out, and I'm just like, oh shit, that's what you're capable of doing? It would have been really interesting to see if Tom Holland, because the whole time Tom Holland is trying to suppress his thoughts, be like, okay, don't let anyone hear what you think, don't let anyone hear that. But what could have been a much better story is maybe Tom Holland thinks to himself, let's see, rather than try to suppress my thoughts and make sure that people can't hear what I'm really thinking, maybe try to learn to control it or really use it to my advantage. Find a way to take your weakness and turn it into a strength. That could have been awesome. It could have been great for Tom Holland's character. It's like, along the way, on this journey where he's got to help Daisy Ridley and people who hear his thoughts could know what they're up to and get them in trouble, maybe instead find a way to use it to get you out of a sticky situation. Or when you get to your final showdown with Mads Mikkelsen, the two of you could have a thought battle with each other or something like that. Imagine stuff, go all Green Lantern on each other or something like that. It really could have been a sick premise. I don't know why they didn't go with that. In the end, what you get is a very underwhelming finale and a really boring story that leads up to it. All in all, Chaos Walking, this movie was just wasted potential. You have an interesting cast, and you have an interesting premise, but all of it just went to waste. None of the actors gave memorable performances. None of these characters really stood out to me. There's not one that I could hold on to and be like, that character was great. The idea of your thoughts being heard could have made for a really great sci-fi and maybe even some suspense. But really, they kind of wasted that away, and we get like this, will they, won't they kind of adventure between these two leads. They really wasted the potential to, I think, really use that ability to its full effect. In the end, this is probably one of those movies that's definitely not as good as the book. Or who knows, maybe this movie followed the book entirely and people will write in the comments, well, it's only how it is in the book. Well, then, I don't care if it followed the book. I would hate the book too. Which means the lesson here, kids, is if you're going to borrow from source material, don't be afraid to make something your own a little bit. You can have creative license. Unless, of course, the book was a lot better than the movie, in which case, yeah, just follow the source material. Work with what you got. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.